When was the last time you looked at two really good options for something you needed or wanted and decided on neither, even though both solved your challenge, were in your price range, and were easily available? Many look at that as indecision, uncertainty, or even just giving up. Yet, isn't that a choice in and of itself? We'll discuss making choices and choosing not to choose on this edition of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
And I just realized, Tom, I didn't button my buttons, so bear with me while I button my little button-down buttons because it makes the collar look a lot better. Sorry about that.
I thought you were just in a new style. I think there's some people who don't button their button-down collars, and that's a thing.
Well, it wouldn't be a button-down collar if you don't button it down, right? Then it would just be a collar. So why would you have the buttonholes on the button?
Well, it is a button-down collar, and yet you could choose not to button down, right? It's like you could have a car that has a retractable roof.
Yeah.
You don't always have, or you don't ever have to retract it. I don't know why you wouldn't. And
I was going to say, it seems like a waste on a day like today, where in Baltimore, it's going to get up to 60 degrees. I think this is like the quintessential retractable roof day.
And that's a choice you get to make.
There you have it. All right, let's rock and roll. We got a lot to cover in a short time today.
Okie dokie. Well, welcome everyone to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast, where we have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic is making choices. And today, as I mentioned in the opening, we're going to talk about choosing not to choose and how that is actually a choice. And we'll get to much more to that in just a few minutes. If you are watching this on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or
LinkedIn Live, wait till tomorrow. Wait till tomorrow because the bunker will be empty. You'll get the full treatment tomorrow.
So you better tune in to tomorrow's episode. You won't want to miss Bob Unleashed. It is something to behold. Anyhow, for today, before we get ahead of ourselves to tomorrow, today, as you are listening, if you would like to choose to share a comment, that'd be great because we know that it adds value. You can also choose not to make a comment. That is also okay based on what's real for you. But we do welcome comments. And at the end of the show, Bob and I will offer our one thing, our antidote that may help you today, or it may help you as you move forward along your own unique pathway to success. So please feel free to share those comments now if you are watching this live, or if you are watching this inside one of those other platforms. We welcome your comments afterwards because other people will check it out, and it may be just what they are looking for. If you happen to be listening to our podcast, we appreciate that very much, and we understand the frustration you may have about not being able to comment while listening. We appreciate that. You can always go to the Ring of Renegades and share your thoughts and ideas. Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Share your thoughts and ideas with others once you get to a place where you have access to a computer. You can also share it with friends because that's always helpful and might help someone you might be desperately looking to support. And we would encourage you to rate our show. It's another way to get the message out. And how would we like
5
this
stars?
To rate? Okay,
5
stars. Bob,
only
jump right
answer
in.
there is.
There's no need to wait or anything.
No
Excellent.
choice to be made there. It's one choice and one choice only.
So we hope that you will do that as well. That'd be great. And if you're like, I got a podcast, we've got a broadcast, we've got a Facebook group. If you're like, wow, they've got a lot of different things. Where could I get all of that in one place? You can download our Renegade Success Network app.
Dun, da, da, da.
Where all of those things are in one place. It will also give you more information about how we see and define renegades, as well as information about our Renegade Success Network, and there is a great 6-week challenge program inside of there that will help you find success the Renegade way. So we hope that you will download that. You can do that at Google Play, or you can do that on the App Store within Apple products. So with that, we hope that we will see you inside some of those different options. The first thing we do, though, every day is celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating the warm weather. Here in Baltimore, it's going to get up in the low 60s, which means it's not that long till golf weather. So I'm excited about that. I miss golf. I haven't played golf since late October, and it was about 30 degrees in the rain that day. And I'm ready to play more golf. Weather. No, not golf weather. How about you? What are you celebrating?
So I'm celebrating that sometimes the things we are most desperately seeking are right in front of us. I have a thought I'll share with you afterwards about something we've been working on, that sometimes I think we spend so much time trying to figure things out. And sometimes the answer is right in front of us, staring in the face, and for whatever reason, we can't see it. And so I'm celebrating those times when sometimes the light comes on and you're like, oh, there it is, right there in front of me. So that's what I'm celebrating today.
Wow. And you've teased me into paying real close attention for the rest of the day.
You know, have to keep your attention somehow. So
that's it.
Do that. I don't want you to wander off and miss one of your important cues.
That's right. There are a lot of them.
So what are the Renegades celebrating today?
It is National Random Acts of Kindness Day. And what I'd like to propose to Renegades is to do a random act of kindness to another person or for another person who you think of as a renegade, someone who is carving their own pathway towards success. Could be buy them a cup of coffee without asking for permission. It could be carrying their groceries out. It could be someone you met. It could just be calling someone going, hey, I haven't talked to you in a little while. How's it going? What are you excited about today? What's the last great success you had? But really focusing it not just on random acts of kindness, but random acts of kindness for a renegade that you observe. You don't have to tell them they're a renegade. You can or can't. That's up to you. But just choosing a renegade to do that for, because renegades are carving their own path, like you know, and it would be great to have that person affirm that in some way. Just like, oh, wow, that was really kind.
Interesting. It's interesting that day followed, what was yesterday? Do something nice for someone grouchy?
Yes, like and the day before was Valentine's Day, right? Or 2 days before.
Yeah, interesting. You know what else they could do if they know somebody who's truly a renegade?
What's that?
They could share this podcast and broadcast with them.
Or send them a copy of the book.
Or send a copy of the book.
Way.
Or
I would
invite
hold it
them
up,
to
but
join.
I didn't bring it over to.
You mean this book? That I
book.
Always have handy to be able to share, because I'm pretty certain you might not. Interesting whose book it is. Or you can invite them to join our Facebook group. I think one of the biggest challenges about being a renegade is sometimes you feel like you're alone. You feel like you're trying to do something that nobody else has ever done before. And actually you are, because you are unique. And so having a community of people that is supportive of that and sees the value in being a renegade could be really beneficial to that person who is struggling, thinking that they're off in the distance and no one understands them. So I think that's great. Random act of kindness. And my random act of kindness would encourage you to join our community, because I think they would add value to their life and help them move forward.
Awesome.
So do you want to choose to move forward or not?
Sure. Let's move forward.
Okay. So we just made a choice.
We did.
Which we've been talking about all week, is making choice. We talked on Monday about following your heart, of course, because it was Valentine's Day, which made a lot of sense. And yesterday we dove into, Tuesday we talked about others' influence, and yesterday we talked about conflicting ideas.
That was like me.
Yeah, I had a moment there. So after all of those things, we're going to talk about choosing not to choose. Do you want to kick us off?
I would love to, Tom. I am not a big fan of choosing not to choose. I find it very difficult for me. I rarely choose not to choose. In fact, when you were reading the opening, I was sitting there going, I can't remember the last time I chose not to choose. I don't even consider it as an option. It's either A, B, or C. Never default to no choice and wait it out. And it's probably at times to my detriment. I think I am more focused on controlling situations. And I think the way to feel the least control is when you don't decide something. I also think, the other side of the coin is I think some people that know me would consider me to be decisive when I need to be. And I think that's the other, not always, not in all aspects of my life, but I think that there's the double-edged sword. If you're too decisive, you're too decisive. If you don't ever make a decision, you don't make a decision, you never make a choice. So there's a sweet spot in there, and I'm not sure I know where that is, and I'm not sure any of us really do. What do you think about that?
I actually think that you make a choice when you choose not to choose.
But what if that doesn't even come up as an option to me? I don't even think of not
Isn't
choosing.
it always an option? So let me give you an example.
It's always an option, but it's not an option I consider.
Are you an outlet shopper? You're an outlet shopper, aren't you?
I am.
Have you ever picked up 2 shirts and said, boy, I really like these 2 shirts. This one, I like the feel. This one, I like the color. And then said, you know what? I don't know. I'm not ready to buy. And you set them back down and walk out. Ever done that?
Never. I can assure you. I know there are people that would listen to this that have been outlet shopping with me that if I said I did it one time, they would not believe it. I would buy one of them or I would buy both. I wouldn't even consider not buying something. I can't remember the last time, Tom, I walked away from an opportunity.
I can.
Fair.
You talked all about it about a week and a half ago where you were looking at something else, considering an opportunity in the Midwest.
Okay. That's right. You're right. Okay.
And you chose not to do that.
I thought you were talking about Saturday evening when we were together. I thought that was the opportunity. So apparently I've walked away from a number of opportunities, but
we all walk away from opportunities.
It's funny until you brought those 2 examples up.
You want me to keep going?
I would not have thought of that as something I do. It's really interesting to me. I'm not being funny or facetious. I'm just literally, I just thought of an example after you gave me a really good example and didn't even come up in my head. So
because in reality, that is the choice, right? You could choose to do A, you could choose to do B, or your other choice is I'm not going to do either A or B. I'm just going to move forward. And I would say that I do that. The number of times I just walk into a store and I see things that I'm intrigued by, I like, think about buying, maybe even try it on. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not into it today. I'm going to walk out. Or I just don't want to spend the money right now. I think that's choosing not to choose, right? Although in reality, I'm choosing not to purchase those things. So that is a choice. I think we don't always see that as a choice. And I think, unfortunately, because we see that as a choice, people who take that choice say like, yeah, we could buy product A for our business, or we could buy product C. I'm going to choose not to buy either for some reason or another. And that is a choice. Yet often that is seen as indecisive, uncertain, wishy-washy, thinking you can't make a choice, when in reality you made a choice. And I think sometimes we get so frustrated about why I just can't decide. So I'm not going to decide. And that actually is a choice.
What about the fact that a fair number of people, Tom, can't decide, or rather choose not to decide because they're paralyzed by the options? They don't want to be wrong, sure, or they're worried that the stigma attached to making a decision, because I know I've seen that in sales situations where you're talking to someone and it looks good, and then all of a sudden at the end I'm just not ready to buy. we walked through this. You had the budget assigned, you had all this in place. What happened? Or I need to talk to the partners, or I need to do this. And I think that's the part of this. Now, I will tell you this. I'd rather someone say, I'm not going to make a choice than leave me hanging and going, yeah, call me back in 2 weeks, call me back in 2 weeks, call me back in 2 weeks.
Yes.
A no is better than maybe.
Yes.
And yes is even better.
And I think why do we, it's interesting because as soon as you went all through that thing and then you gave their answer, then you came up with, well, wait a minute, we did all this, and this. Isn't that passing judgment or placing blame on them?
Yes.
Not making a choice when in reality, they actually made a choice.
I agree.
Even if they say, I'd like you to get back to me again, that's a choice. We may not like it. We may think it's a pain for us. It's being a little selfish.
I would agree.
And I think it's just one of those things that because again, we're basing everything on the result. And we didn't like the choice they made. You made a great pitch. You shared all the information. They desperately need the product or your support or your services, or that this idea is brilliant for your organization, and they chose not to accept it. And what do? What happens after you do that? You go beat yourself up, right? I should have done this. I could have done that. Or blame them, blah, 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 blah. They just don't understand. They don't know what they're missing. What does that really do for you?
Not a whole
Rather than just, if you go back and after that be like, what went well? What didn't go as planned? And what would I do differently? And then you move forward from it. So you're not blaming or judging them. You're not blaming or judging yourself or criticizing yourself. You're able to learn and move forward.
I like it. What's your one thing then, Tom?
My one thing is about choosing not to choose is just that I would encourage people to remember that whether it's you, a teammate, a client, a customer, a prospect, them deciding not to go with you, them deciding they need more time, them deciding to go with is all a choice that you have zero control over. So let it go. Don't judge it. And for yourself, be okay with the fact that you chose not to participate in a program, or you chose to just be like, the time passed. I guess I just wasn't really that interested. That is okay. That it's not indecisiveness. I mean, I suppose, I think it's indecisiveness if you beat yourself up over it, or uncertainty or overwhelm. If you're able to say, I guess it just wasn't the right time. What might I do differently? And move forward. You can actually consider that a choice. Does that make any sense?
Makes a lot of sense. I'm not even going to add anything to it because I think you gave two things in the middle that are really worth bookended. And there's nothing I can say. Plus, I'm still trying to get over the whole idea that not choosing is a choice. I don't think I ever considered that until you brought it up today. So, hey, yesterday was our longest episode, and today's probably our shortest. Bookended.
Could be. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know what people think. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If that made any sense to you whatsoever, are you like, that guy is crazy? People are just wishy-washy and blah, blah, blah. Okay. If that's the way you feel about it. That's
your choice.
Correct. And I think that's the thing is we make a million choices. And of those millions of choices, some of them is the choice not to choose. Yep. So somebody says...
I'm trying to figure out who said that.
Reminds me of conflict mitigation. Sometimes not engaging with the other is the choice that is most effective. People forget that. As Americans, it's black or white. We suck at gray. And I love gray. Gray is where we understand. And someone else says, thank you for this. So they appreciate this. Totally makes sense. Great episode. Was that you, Bob? Did you go in and post that?
No, that was not me.
Oh, it's Danny.
It's Danny. Yes.
Danny shared that note with us. So
all those comments are from Danny. There
awesome.
You go.
Thanks, Danny. We appreciate that and glad
we really do.
And that's just one piece of information as a part of how the show went. There are probably other people out there like, those two are knuckleheads. So
Danny,
anyhow,
send me your address so I can send you a book.
Oh, there we go.
Grab it.
There we go, Danny. See, you comment on the show and you might get rewarded with
That's it.
The Renegade Way book by Bob Graham. Forward by Tom Brush. Just all right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us on the show today. If you have other thoughts and ideas that you maybe want to share on comments, just dive into our Facebook group, the Ringer Renegades Facebook group. It is a great way to connect and engage with our over 1,200 renegades who are trying to find their next step along.
Is it over 1,200?
It says 1,200 on the page. I don't know.
Hey,
I haven't counted.
I haven't checked lately. That's nice. It's growing.
Go. So we look forward to seeing you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning for my favorite part of the week. We're going to share our discoveries of the week around making choices. So we look forward to seeing you at 8 a.m. Eastern time, or whenever you happen to watch the broadcast or listen to the podcast. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you and do something random kind for another renegade you know. Or maybe it's a renegade you don't know, and it's the start of getting to know them.
Or you could invite them to the Ring of Renegades Facebook group or share the podcast with them. Just saying. That's a nice act of kindness. They'll find some value there. I know. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.